Hello everybody, this is me sort of going over Automatic Replay Viewer. This is a program made by my good friend Mal, and I wanted to show it off today, partially because I think it's a really good software, and partially there's been an update recently. So spoiler alert, as of this release, BBCF is one of the games that is in the Replay Viewer settings, and I think it's pretty cool, so I wanted to show what this is about. Before we sort of jump into actually using it, I should talk about what it actually does. I should also turn off my phone. What it does is basically takes replays you might have saved from playing online in some games, such as Skullgirls, Rivals of Aether. I think this Rivals of Aether doesn't work with the rollback beta, so keep that in mind. I won't be showing that today. BBTag, which is getting a replay, netplay update soon. Exit Ref 2, which is going to get a replay update or netplay update never, sadly. And BBCF, which got a netplay update quite recently. So, you want to go into more options, and then these more options, they sort of let you change settings for a bunch of things. Default number of replays, you don't really, who cares about that? Default start recording hotkey and default stop recording hotkey. You want this to be the same global shortcut as your OBS or Streamlabs. You're a fucking loser. You want to use that. So for me, I use F9 and F10. I'm not going to use that because it'll stop my recording on my OBS. So we'll just keep that off for now. In Skullgirls, you set the buttons for what your keyboard controls are for your game. And this is important because what the program does is it looks at the specific indices or whatever. I'm not a programmer. Basically, it looks in the memory and then sees what the state is, and then according to what the state is, hits the certain button. So, one, it requires you to be tabbed into the game. If you're not tabbed in, it will just like read the state, but then hit the button, which doesn't do anything. So keep that in mind. But otherwise, set the buttons to what you need them to be. These are my controls, so I do that. Also, for default, you can set it to display hitboxes, inputs, and attack data. This is all stuff that the game shows anyway. So you can just use it to be like, yeah, I want to watch this, 10 replays or whatever, but I also want to see what the inputs and attack data and hitboxes were. So if you want to analyze your matches, for instance, you can use that to make it a little bit easier to see what the interact. Similarly, for Rivals of Aether, you want to set the controls a certain way. BBTag set the controls a certain way. Exert set the controls a certain way, and then BBCF set the controls a certain way. These are my controls for BBCF, which are the two games I'll be showing today. So, again, I'm going to set these to on because I want to show you guys how that looks. I'm going to scroll to whatever the first replay I wanted to show, and replays go from left to right in SG, so if my first replay is this one, my second replay will be the one to the right. So, it'll work like that. So, for instance, if you started a big set, my big set against Ramen Kid over here, I would want it to start at this point, and then it's gone on for 10 games, so I would want it to go for 10 games. So I would set number replays 10, and then show it to you like that. Just for ease of use, I'm going to show you how this actually works. So I'm going to hit start on Automatic Replay Viewer here. It's going to start viewing the replays. It shows you a queue over here, which shows you what the viewing replay stuff is. So it's looking at the first replay right now. And I'm going to just turn down my own sound because it's loud. So basically, it's just playing through the replay, blah, 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 stuff is happening, cool stuff. All the Skullgirls, cool things like the inputs, the hitboxes, and the attack data, which shows you how much damage a combo did, how much on Daisy they had, stuff like that. All sort of cool stuff. It also shows up over there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just skip this replay. It doesn't really matter if you don't view it the entire way. It'll just skip to the next replay. Spoiler alert. But, basically what it does is at the end of the replay match, this will happen. And then it goes, oh, this screen? Okay, and then it automatically plays you the next replay. Which next replay is going to show up, and this is something completely. There's number 6 replay. And like that, it just shows you what the next replay is, and so on and so forth. And that's, I think, pretty cool. I'm going to stop this queue because I don't need to watch this. And I'm just going to quit this game now. And I'm going to show you guys what it looks like for BBCF. Because that's the newest game that it's on. I'm going to switch to BBCF. All this thing should be fine. I should set on hide window. BBTF is amazing, and it needs you to set network mode on before you can watch replays. But do that, and then go to replay theater. And again, just as before, I'm going to set it to 2 replays like that, and then you can see, for instance, my first replay and then my second replay. So BBCF replays go from bottom to top. The first match I would have played, if I want to watch these 3 games over, I would set the first match to this, and then set the replay numbers to 3, and then it would go 1, 2, 3, and then you would do that. For sake of ease, I'm gonna set it to 2 replays and then set the first one, and it's gonna go, and like that it went. Right. Blah 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 blah. When the game loads the replay. Da 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 da. Excellent game. And yeah, so it just, it has the window show. It doesn't have the window you would see over here where it shows like what the controls are or whatever, because you don't really need to see that as like in the replays. But you would want your inputs and stuff to show up because that's useful information for you. I don't think there's an easy way to turn it off, so I think that's why it's not there. But I mean, it's useful stuff to see. Doesn't really matter. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go to the replay theater, because that's the same thing as skipping the replay. And I'll just get this replay, and eventually we'll go to the second match like that and just played it like that. You guys didn't see it, but also the queue updated, so it went to replay. Doing replay 2 of 2, and then I also had the hide window show up, so it doesn't show the window over there. And yeah, and it's gonna load the new replay, and there it is. It just loaded the new replay. I'm just gonna turn off this queue. The queue turns off automatically at the end of the replay. I'll show you guys what it looks like. I'll just go to replay theater, and then at the end of the queue, when it's done, it'll say queue finished. So for example, like if you set like 40 replays, and you wanted to like come back later and like, oh, is it done yet? It'll just tell you the queue. Otherwise, it's like frozen somewhere, or if you interrupted the queue, it'll tell you that as well. So this is this program. I mean, this is pretty straightforward, I think, to use. The pointers will keep getting updated. Actually, because SG is currently like updated quite a bit, the update pointers will not be very accurate, because every time a new beta update happens, it changes what the pointer is meant to be. So I've made a video on my channel somewhere else where you can use that and learn how to update the pointers for SG yourself. For updating it for SG, sorry, it's pretty easy. Everything else, it's significantly not easier. So I'll just bug Mal whenever there's an update, whenever I can, and when he can, he'll just update the pointers. If you click on the update pointers, it'll update the pointers. Amazing. I guess I need to tell him what that's like. Hilarious. So I'll just tell him that, and he'll fix it hopefully before the video goes up, and then that should be all fine. So yeah, I mean, this is this program. I think it's pretty straightforward and easy to use. If you like it, you should not like and subscribe to this channel. You should retweet the tweet I'll put up where Mal updates or like makes a big tweet about it. You should promote that. Don't promote this about that. But you can also do it if you want. Doesn't really. Just a quick like sort of show for the. Anyway, that's all of that. I'll stop rambling. See you guys around. Have a happy new year or whatever. Oh, you're real.